Welcome, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Saturday, January 4th, 2025. What do we have coming through on the cards for today? First thing I need to do is I need to bring the cards together, which I just forgot to do. They're all over the table, so just bear with me a moment as we get these cards together. All right, here we go. We've actually got the first two cards out because these are the only two cards that were not over. So these are our two cards to start with. And boy, are they two cards to begin with, because these, and okay, so this was very intriguing. And this is very customary right now for what we're seeing in the cards. All of the cards were face up except for two cards that were face down. So I took those two cards that were face down. Those are our two face up cup cards today. And wouldn't you know it, the first two cards we're starting our day off with today are our Four of Swords, and it's upright in combination with our Justice card, and it's upright. Now, this is very intriguing because if you head over to the Substack and take a look at the podcast, there's always a photo that I post there of each day's reading spreads. What was the card that we completed our reading with yesterday? You got it. It was the Four of Swords. Making peace with things is not easy. It's not easy. I know it's not easy. Making peace with things is not easy because when we make, and the reason we're seeing that there's a lot of this energy right now, making peace with things, has to do specifically and particularly with the fact, I keep saying the gift of this Capricorn new moon is being able to see things with clarity. And when you see something with clarity, it's not uncommon for something to feel bittersweet, right? Because you're not allowing that space, like, and this is what, and we've been seeing even now, this is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For feminine, this is more of that work that we see that feminine is having, making peace with their emotions, right? I keep getting the feminine is recognizing that their emotions are like the wind, saying to the feminine, speaking to themselves and saying, listen, I love you guys. But sometimes you want to see something in such a way that you try to pull me into directions or places that I don't aspire to be, right? There's a lot of this energy right now of feminine working on the experience of navigating the emotions. And when we're navigating our emotions effectively, it doesn't require us to disassociate. It doesn't require us to say, it's fine, I just trained myself to stop feeling that way. It is what we speak about when we talk about Stoicism. Stoicism is not, and I know we always inform this, Stoicism is not a lack of feeling. Stoicism, the strength of feeling everything that you can feel possible, but allowing one's own conviction to drive oneself forward, right? That is in a moment, like we carry grace in those moments because we honor how we feel, but we understand what our path work is, right? And kind of like, listen, it sucks. I mean, I'm going to be honest. It sometimes can feel very difficult. You know, that's what we talk about when we identify honor, right? When we talk about energetic standards. It's not easy when we work through that type of work because we recognize and identify, and we keep seeing here, this is why this Justice card is so important. And I see a lot of this energy that says, give me the strength, give me the strength to recognize what is within my own self and my own standards, right? To do and change within my own standard, and give me the clarity, the ability to see what is outside that I cannot change, or that would move me outside of my own energetic standards to impact, right? And so for a lot of the feminine energy navigating that space, I just see that there's a lot of this feminine energy. And that's why I keep saying some of these partnerships that are forming right now, it's warrior energy. It's not warrior energy like, it's not warrior energy like being like vicious. It's warrior energy in recognizing and feeling the depth, the heaviness, if you will, of moving forward from a space of energetic courage. And that is a lot of the gift that we're getting right now with the Mars retrograde, because this is just your gentle reminder that courage is not something that we do when we have confidence. Confidence and courage do not exist in the same house. They're not the same thing. If you have confidence, you don't need courage. If you're sure of something, why would you need, there's no courageousness needed, right? You're courageous when you're not sure what's going to happen. And so we see even now that building into that path work, this is why we see so much of this energy of feminine, like moving back into either coming into the space of being ready to move back into like coming into partnership or moving out of separation and saying to themselves, never before have I been as strong as those moments that I learned to trust again. Or we have a lot of that masculine energy that's doing similar work right now in separation. But for a lot of the masculine energy right now, this is letting go of regret, right? When we are healing our egoic shield, it is not uncommon to experience a lot of regret, right? Because what is that regret we feel? It's the ability to see something that we couldn't see before. It's the ability to understand something that we could not understand before. And so this is a lot of that masculine energy that's working through that process of feeling regret, but not energetically blaming the self. Because if we cannot see something, if we hold regret for something that we could not see, then that is not a space that we blame ourselves, because this is inner child healing. Because just like, again, if a child makes an energetic mistake on something that they did not understand, you don't blame the child for something that they didn't know, right? You come into that space or place of giving that child compassion, right? Working through that. And so I see even now there's a lot of that masculine energy that is healing their egoic shield by saying to oneself, listen, I love you, but when you're trying to protect me so much, you make it impossible for me to see over you or around you, right? So there's a lot of that work that's happening here. So for a lot of the masculine energy and separation, I keep seeing a lot of the masculine saying, never have I had to be more brave, never have I had to be more courageous than coming towards feminine from a place of authenticity. Because in that space of authenticity, and again, realigning one's own perception of rejection, the masculine that says, if a feminine sees me at my authenticity and it's not for them, that's not rejection, right? When we are in our uniqueness and we are special T, and this is why it's so beautiful, because this is a message that was coming through on the feminine's energy just a few days ago. So there's a lot of this alignment that's occurring right now. Like if someone doesn't like your tea, that doesn't mean that it's not good tea. It means you're a special tea. Like it's just, you're not for everybody. Thank God. Thank goodness. Thank gracious. It's like, it's good. It's good to be in that space. It's good not to be necessarily for everyone, right? Because there's a lot of that masculine energy that's making, like, healing their own processes. And so I'm telling you even now, these connections, the connections that are forming right now, beautiful. I know it, but it's hard, right? It's hard, but it's going to be beautiful because this is very courageous energy. Now, for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, a lot of this work that we're effectively seeing that's occurring right now for energy coming into divine union is making peace with what they see. Why are a lot of energy right now coming into divine union making peace with what they see? Because when we move into divine union, when we move things into a place of deepening commitment, when we bring something into the tangible space, which we see that a lot of this energy was doing, like just during the retrograde period of the Mercury retrograde period, a lot of this energy, feeling that sense of stability, because if another sees something in a way that you do not see it, this is a lot of this energy that feels like they're going through a maturation process, and it's bittersweet. Because why are they feel like it's going through a maturation process? Because I see that a lot of this energy coming into divine union, it's not just the fact that you potentially may be experiencing something that feels outside of partnership, that feels more difficult. I see a lot of the energy coming into divine union remembers a time that they saw something in the same way, right? There's a lot of that deja vu that I see that is occurring right now for the energy coming into divine union, that is reminiscent or articulating and showing someone how far they have come, because not only can they see something from someone outside of the self, but they have compassion for it because they can remember when they themselves felt that way. So that's why we see even now there's a lot of that energy giving compassionate distance to things. And what do we do when we give something compassionate distance? We effectively say, I'm sorry you feel that way. I hope the day comes that you can see something the way that I see it, right? And there's a lot of that energetic piece, but it's bittersweet. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, this is just the energy. This is masculine and feminine energy just completely, like, that's the thing. They're just in completely different vibes right now, but they're counterpart vibes. They work in conjunction with one another. Because what's nice about the fact that when you're deep within divine union, you don't necessarily need to be in lockstep every step of the way, because it is the stability that you create that allows for the sense of being able to be in your own energetic vibe while still being in harmony, right? So for masculine today, I see that this is more of a day of repose, right? Having a little bit of this work and prioritizing rest. Feminine is not in that mode right now. Feminine is like in the opposite modality. This is feminine, like work, 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 getting things done, like, you know? So we see even now like a little bit of that energy here. But again, you know, these two cards, they're in alignment. Do you notice this? They're in alignment even if they might be going through, even though they're experiencing something differently, right? Continuing to get clarification, center card in our 5-card spread, we have here our Ace of Swords in its upright. Now, again, this is like, I gotta say, there's a lot of sword energy here. Okay, all swords right now. Even the Justice card's got swords in it, but this is positive. They're positive swords. Like, they're positive swords. I know everyone gives, like, sometimes I feel like the sword suite gets a bad rap, because it's not just a suite of combat. It's a suite of conviction, right? It's when it's in its proper place, that feeling of force feels like conviction. So what's nice about this is there's a lot of this energy here that is building upon and based upon that feeling of energetic conviction. And what is energetic conviction? Energetic conviction is feeling that sense or that space of affirmation in relationality to the path work ahead. So that's really beautiful here, because I'm seeing that happening across all of the frequencies, right? Like, it's not, and that's why, because, like, again, because you can't be confident, so how's the energy moving forward? With conviction, okay? 4th and 5th, but it's also difficult right now because it could be feeling, for those that aren't navigating this energetic shift as well, it could be dealing with those that whose confidence is more like riding the waves instead of navigating through something with conviction. 4th and 5th card in our 5-card spread is, come on guys, you want to come out too? Thank you. We have here our Hangman. Yep, Hangman and our Ace of Cups. It's a little bit of shrug. It's a little bit of that, like, cosmic shrug. What are you going to do? Because why, you know, why do we say, what are you going to do? Right? Because, and this is what I see even, and this, I got to just stress this. This is like, I want to know where Libra is right now. Right? Because a little bit of this energy here is focused around, this is, what are you going to do? But also, this is what I'm not doing that. Right? Like, it's a little bit like, again, welcome to 2025. Like, this is like the Pluto in Aquarius. It's honoring your nope. Like, it's honoring your nope, because again, it's a lot of that path work that I'm seeing here. Wherein, and again, this is the same message we saw that was coming through yesterday, which is that space that says, it's not just about what you achieve. It's about the process of energetically achieving it, right? It's about being able to maintain the sense of space of identifying and recognizing yourself in the process. So we keep seeing that for a lot of this energy right now, there's a lot of feeling of energetic stability that's coming via V. This is the beauty. I mean, I know this. I know that this period of time feels very difficult, right? But when we recognize and identify that feeling of like, it's giving me like training wheels coming off. You know what I mean? It's giving me a lot of that space in terms of recognizing and feeling that sense of saying, like, when you can go in any possible direction, you move with intention, right? You move with energetic focus. And so I see even now that effectively for a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, working through that path work of really identifying and feeling the shape of the self, who you aspire to be, moving in accordance with the higher self, right? We see even now that there's a lot of that, I want to say, like there's a lot of that energetic refinement that is occurring here, which is why I keep seeing that a lot of that work feels more existential during this time, right? Because it says to me, I keep getting that the gift coming out of the Capricorn new moon is one of being able to see things with clarity. Now, for energy coming into divine union, that clarity is again effectively the maturation process of making peace, right, with what you see around you, and also again recognizing what is outside of one's own hands to change, because I keep getting the same message for any of the energy moving into divine union right now and experiencing something outside of partnership that feels like it causes turbulence to partnership, right? Which is again best articulated by that feeling or that expression of saying when you see someone that sees something, like, look, in a way that you don't like put all of your time, effort, and energy in trying to change their mind, right? You don't overly focus and concentrate on what that journey is, but rather and instead what we effectively identify and recognize is this is the energy that says, I hope the day will come that you share that perspective. I hope the day will come when you recognize and identify and feel something in the same way that we do, right? Because this is the energy that literally feels like giving someone that energetic distance is the act of compassion, right? And that's why I keep seeing that there's a lot of this energy coming into divine union right now that's learning new forms of compassion. Now, for a lot of this energy and separation, this is either the energy that is building into the conviction of taking those steps forward, working towards partnership, right? A lot of this energy I can see like almost saying to themselves, I'm ready now, right? Or these are new energetic partnerships that are forming with the recognition of the repose that each individual brings to it. And what does that repose indicate? A lot of that sense of repose that we're seeing is feeling what do we have when we have repose? We feel energetic confidence in ourselves. So I see even now that there's a lot of this energy. A lot of this energy is recognizing and identifying themselves in separation by that feeling of composure or repose. For feminine, it is that moment of not moving too much and not carrying the past so heavily that you're navigating and you're putting those faults on those that you're connecting to, right? That is the energetic courage that we're discussing. For masculine, it is coming towards feminine from a place of openness. And both of these energies feeling the anxiety of the past repeating, but pushing against it, right? And giving each other the grace of that stability. Continuing to get clarification between our Four of Swords in its upright in combination with our Justice card in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Four of Pentacles in its upright. Heavy fours energy again. This is feeling very similar to the reading that we experienced yesterday because we had a lot of heavy 4 energy, we had a lot of heavy 6 energy yesterday, and we had a lot of heavy 9 energy. So right now we've got a lot of heavy 4 energy. And like the thing with the 4 energy is it's stabilizing. It's a stabilizing force. It's a lot of that stability that we're seeing here. And so you know, what's nice about it is I keep seeing that it's working. Why do we see that some of this 4 energy is coming through? Because it's important, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like the 4 energy is in connection with moving into Pluto and Aquarius, which is more of that continuation of feeling good with oneself and one's own energetic choices. And that's that. And what happens when we go through those experiences where we see a lot of possibilities and then we look at something and say, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm not going to do, right? Like this is that shift that we keep seeing that's occurring with the Pluto coming out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. Because Pluto in Capricorn was like, okay, listen, I'm going for my manifestation goal, and anything I have to do to get to the manifestation goal is fine. But it's not fine, because if you move towards a manifestation goal like that, then who do you become on the journey of moving towards a manifestation goal, right? There's no point. Like this is the harmony that we're seeing that's happening right now in a lot of those lessons, which is saying it's not just enough to move towards a manifestation goal. It's moving towards a manifestation goal and staying in accordance and alignment with who you desire and aspire to be in the process, right? So we just keep seeing that there's a lot of that energy here that is building upon that sense or space of energetic conviction, right? That is the healthy, that is the healthy ego, right? The healthy ego that acts as structure, right? It acts as structure of personal self rather than being led by an ego trying to be overprotective. Cultivating and crafting that energetic ego, crafting the energetic shield so that you recognize the energetic standards that you bring forth as you navigate circumstances or situations. Now, that is having a different impact across those frequencies. For a lot, I told you, that's why for a lot of the energy deep within Divine Union right now, this feels existential. For a lot of the energy coming into Divine Union, that's why I see a lot of that energy going, I'm sorry they feel like that, but I did, like when we're moving in that space, we go, I'm sorry. Like I hold sadness that you see something in that way, but I also honor your energetic perspective, right? Like it's not dismissive. It's literally the activation point in saying, I feel regret that you perceive something in a way that I do not perceive it. And I hope the day will come that you and I can share the same perspective. While for a lot of this energy right now in separation, this is the energy like pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. Why is the energy in separation pulling themselves up by their bootstraps? Because this is the energy that says, in order to move forward, I must be brave, right? And that form of bravery is taking different shapes in masculine and feminine energy right now. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Masculine coming towards feminine from a place of authenticity, reaffirming that rejection is an illusion. All rejection is someone saying that we are not in alignment. We do not share the same perspective. We do not desire the same things. It is a blessing to be energetically rejected, because when you're energetically rejected, you move away. You're like, the rejection is protection, because it shows that authenticity, as long as you're coming towards someone from a place of authenticity, you're recognizing what feels like it is in alignment versus what feels like it is not. For feminine, the feminine moving towards and saying, the way I protect my trust is by recognizing that energy that is deserving of trust will navigate from my energetic standards. And if someone does not navigate those energetic standards, then they are not for me, because they see things from a different perspective. So we see even now all of that building into the structure of finding the stabilization point that's allowing the conviction for the energy to be able to move forward at times when, again, Mars retrograde. This is like the hardest time to try to come into partnership right now, which is why I keep saying that so much of these energies that are the partnerships that are forming now within this Mars retrograde are going to be some of the strongest energetic, like they're going to be they're saying to me it's going to be Aries partnerships, because they're literally crafting the Aries energy out of thin air. Continuing to get clarification between our Justice card in its upright in combination with our Ace of Swords in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Page of Cups. How can you be calm at a time like this? It's literally, it's like that. It's the energy that is recognizing the sheer magnitude of, and I literally see energy looking at another and being like, how can you be calm at a time like this? Right? Like this is the vibe of some of those partnerships that are coming through, right? Because They're moving with conviction. And I can see the energy going, what else are you going to do? What else am I going to do? And why is the energy going, what else am I going to do? What's the energy saying? What am I going to do? Allow the past to define me, right? Is this a feminine energy that effectively says, like, what am I going to do? I'm going to allow that thing that hurt me to hurt me twice by not allowing me to trust again. Feminine's like, nope, let's roll those dice. Like, this is a feminine saying, like having that, like, it's like the audacity, but that's what we see with the conviction that says, I refuse to let something that hurt me again by carrying that pain forward. That's why for the feminine, this is a feminine saying, and looking back at those places where masculine, like, this is why the feminine, if they build to trust, they effectively start to heal the masculine energy in the process, because this is the feminine says, I refuse to believe that all masculine energy is in the formation of the masculine that caused that pain. I refuse to punish the new masculine energy that's coming towards me with the mistakes of the past energetic force. So this is the feminine energy that sees, again, redefining compassion, because when the feminine energy finds that courage to move forward, they're saying, I am allowing the context of recognizing that there are healed masculine energies, that it's not always like that, that was the exception to the rule. That was not the rule. And this is the feminine that says, I show love to the force of masculine energy by knowing and holding the standard and saying, I recognize that the energy ahead of me is also working through those lessons. While for masculine, this is the same that masculine is working on right now in separation. If these are experiences where masculine felt like they were walking on eggshells with feminine, or being in those spaces where they recognize that your own egoic shield created a false illusion of what the feminine expected, and you weren't leading from a place of authenticity. We see that a lot of the masculine energy is working on, and this is why it's so hard for the masculine doing this work, because they're carrying the weight of two, right? This is the masculine carrying the weight of those experiences, both that they themselves may have recognized that they did not see before, but also understanding and recognizing that the validity of some of the work that the feminine has in being protective towards masculine is valid, right? Because this is the masculine that sees the perception and recognizes. And when we see something and understand it, we don't take it personally. We recognize that if feminine comes towards us from a place of caution, it's because the feminine has been hurt in the past, right? And the masculine looking towards feminine with a sense of saying, you show me how to love you. I follow your energetic lead, right? This isn't the masculine that removes themselves from all desire and expectation, but they move towards feminine from a space of energetic collaboration and compassion, right? And both of these energies seeing that in the other and feeling that wave of excitement, because being able to come towards each other, feminine seeing masculine coming towards them with that authenticity, right? And recognizing how difficult it is. Masculine seeing feminine coming towards them with that confidence, knowing the feminine has been hurt in the past. These are the energies that see one another and say, I know, like, it's not the energy that says you're so lucky you've never been hurt before. This is the energy that says you make it look effortless, right? And this is the energy that says, well, let me tell you about it, right? Continuing to get clarification for the energy right now coming into divine union. This is why that energy is almost saying to another, like, it's out of their hands, right? And when they say it's out of their hands, it's not the space that they don't see the fact that there's something they could do about it. But when we are navigating in a space of understanding and prioritizing our energetic boundaries, when another demands something from us that feels like it's exceptional or feels like it's too much, that's that modality of experience that we say, I can't change how you energetically feel, because that is not the prioritization point, right? Our job, our pathwork, healthy pathwork is never trying to change a perspective of someone that does not desire to have their perspective changed, right? Like the ego wants everyone to share our own energetic opinion. We move towards one another with this in a state of conscientiousness and curiosity. But if someone is holding those blinders, either like this, like it's giving me like earmuff energy, right? Or like this, you say like, I can't remove those for you, but I look forward to the day that you may be able, like you are going to do that path work in yourself and being able to see that. And that's why I keep on seeing the energy saying, if you ever want to talk about it, we can talk about it. But again, like holding those boundaries between what they're willing to do versus what feels like it is over, like what feels like it is too much, right? So there's a lot of that sense here that feels like it's like open, but also like boundary setting, right? It's like it's all of this conditional upon what is possible versus what is too far. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, this is energy, like this is energy coming into a deeper understanding of the self in the process. And there's a lot of integration that's happening in those processes, right? And I keep hearing a lot of that energy deep within divine union, like they're trying to expand their own box. But why do we see that the energy is trying to expand? They're trying to think outside of their own box, right? Because when we expand our own box, we think outside of our own box, and then we work in different ways. So I see even now for masculine, this is more playful right now, right? This is the masculine healing the egoic shield and getting more playful. This is feminine getting more focused, right? So that's why we see again, but again, like it's fine because the energy recognizes and feels the beauty of counterpart energy. Doesn't require you to be in the same vibe as your partner every moment of the day. Continuing to get clarification between our Ace of Swords in combination with our Hangman energy, and I got to tell you, like that is a real 1-2 punch when we're talking about energetic force here. The Ace of Swords with the Hangman is really important. Knight of Cups. And I have to say here, like, I see a lot of this energy, like, and I need to point this out, like, this is what we often amplify and articulate, like, and this is why I keep saying that this is the energy right now for brainstorming, not barnstorming. Like, this is just your friendly reminder that we're going through the Mars retrograde. It's a really good idea. It's a good idea. If it's a good idea, it'll be a good idea in 5 minutes. It'll be a good idea in 5 hours. Like, if you get a wild hair of an idea, just hold on to it for a minute. Like, just think about it. Because again, a lot of this is like what I could do, but I won't. Like, ooh, no, like, oh, I could, I have, like a lot of that, like, I have a right to, but I'm not going to do that. Like, it's a lot of that type of energy, right? And so, like, navigating that in a way, and it feels a lot like switching speeds, right? It feels a lot, we've been seeing this a lot too. Not necessarily having the same technique on everything. Everything is about nuance right now. Some things need to be heavy-handed. Sometimes something needs a light touch, right? Some things need to be moved towards like fervently. Some things we back off on, right? Like when we and I can see even now, I almost see, like, I feel like there's a lot of qualitative conversations that are happening right now in relation to navigating nuance. And I can just see, it shows to me like, and this is higher self work, right? This is difficult because when we go through these modalities, something can look very similar, but be very different. So that experience of being like, well, what, like, though, like a little bit of that, like those are the same photo kind of thing versus being like, no, this is very different, even though they look similar, right? A lot of that navigating via those experiences right now. I want you to remember, it helps us. They're conversations that we have with our higher self, right? Because that ability of doing so, that ability of being able to articulate upon nuance, that helps us refine the shape of our own self. But it can feel really, really frustrating, right? It can feel really frustrating when either you see someone doing something and being like, that's different, even though it feels similar, right? Or when you're in those spaces or places wherein it feels like, I feel like there's a lot of energy right now, like working through situations of being like, is this person intentionally not understanding me, or do they just not get it? Like, is this someone that's being obtuse, or is this someone being intentionally obtuse, or are you being like intentionally resistant to like, or is it intentional? Like there's a lot, like there's a like what like, and so I want you to recognize, I can't tell you if it's one or the other right now because it's happening so much because of the Mars retrograde. The answer is like yes, unfortunately, because I told you that for those that are not experiencing this, like like not just recognizing it outside of the self or internalizing it, it can feel like a lot of that confidence that rises and falls. So that can get someone like up on a high horse really quick, and then suddenly they're like in a place of like over apologizing, right? Because it's like literally the confidence vector that's going woo woo woo. So that's why it's helpful right now to move with intentionality. So if you're having that moment right now and you're saying what's gotten into everybody, like like this is what we're seeing. And that's why I keep affirming to you guys, make sure that you're not operating from your ego, making sure that you're navigating with intention. And when we're navigating with intention, it requires different strokes. Not everything, it's not easy. You can't just have like a blanket rule right now, because I promise you, if you have a blanket rule on something, expect it to get like challenged, like it's expected to be like discerned through, right? Now for the energy that is coming into, this is what I see even now for energy coming like in separation. This is what's building upon these connections. I see that there's a lot of this like granular fine-tunement that's happening. This is energy that's being very conscientious as they move towards one another, specifically and particularly because, like, as I said, with some of this, like warrior energy that I'm seeing, like warrior, like heavy work requires gentle hands, right? And so even here, I see this is feminine taking those baby steps of trust and saying to themselves every step of the way, trust is built on not just what you immediately experience. Trust is the consistency that another brings forth, right? So that's why I see a lot of feminine working in that vector of time and building trust. While for masculine, I'm just recognizing and identifying that this feels more akin to working in that space of openness and authenticity. And when we're recognizing and working in that space of openness and authenticity, that's a lot of that masculine energy that's being very gentle with themselves in the process, right? And a lot, the rest of this, and I'm seeing across the other frequencies, has more to do with a recognition of how far one has changed, particularly in terms of how you see something as opposed to how you used to see something. Continuing to get clarification between our hangman and our ace of cups. Again, really, these three cards together, it's like it's the I'm good energy, We've already got one. It's like we've got here our ace of pentacles with our magician. Like this is like welcome to 2025, honoring your nope is what I'm getting. A lot of this like honoring your nope, but like what's beautiful about that is it doesn't feel like there's a lot of energy, like there's reaching that's happening here, but they're saying to me it's reaching within the confines of appreciating one's own self in the process, right? Like I just keep seeing that there's something so beautiful and important about that, because specifically and particularly, this is the energy that says it's not enough to go towards a dream and to throw anything before that dream if you're not the person that desires the thing when you arrive there, right? And that's why this is so impactful for the energy in separation, because this is the masculine that says, if I want to move towards feminine, but it requires me to put a false sense of self up to move closer to that feminine energy. I'm never going to feel like I'm in healthy partnership with that feminine energy because I'm putting the false sense of self up. And so, yes, I can have it, but it's like it feels to me like I'm living in an illusion because the energy that I'm putting forth towards them is not my authentic self, right? So that's what creates a lot of that feeling of disassociation in masculine energy. And that's why the masculine is saying, never have I been more brave than to come towards feminine from my authenticity, right? And for feminine, this is the feminine that says, when I am not able to trust again, after the wounds of trust have hurt me, I am being wounded twice. I'm being wounded once by the person that hurt me, and then everything I bring forth, I'm holding the knife that someone else used to cut me, right? Like that is the problem. That is why we have to heal wounds of trust, because when we don't heal wounds of trust, someone hurts us with a knife and then we hold that knife out to those around us. So we see even now that that's a lot of the feminine energy that's working in that context of compassion but discernment that says, I firmly believe that masculine energy is able to heal, that there are masculine forces that are doing this work. I am seeking them, and I'm showing through my discernment the compassion to give the masculine the benefit of the doubt as we continue to build trust together, right? It's hard. It's pushing out of the comfort zone, but this is why I keep seeing that there's so much strength in some of these partnerships that are occurring and forming at this time. Continuing to get clarification between our Four of Pentacles in combination with our Page of Cups and its upright. And this is where it's having the different impact for the energy deeper within divine union. Yep, we've got the Moon card, right? A lot of this, I gotta say, like a lot of this energy that I'm seeing for the energy right now coming into divine union and deep within divine union has a bit to do with like minding one's own energetic business. But I don't mean that. I don't mean that in an offensive way. I mean, being energetically mindful of what feels like it's in our own pathwork, recognizing and identifying what feels energetically helpful versus like what feels like it moves us like off of our own axis, like moving through that sense or space right now. And it's hard because this combination force of like the Justice card with the Moon card, this is a perfect articulation of what we're seeing right now in relationality to those ups and downs as it relates to the realm of confidence. Because that's the thing with the Mars retrograde. It's not that confidence is at an all-time low. It's not that confidence is at an all-time high. It's that it's vacillating and swinging wildly. So sometimes you feel absolutely confident, then you wait, and then suddenly you don't feel confident about anything. That's why I'm going to say even now, if it's a good idea, give it a minute. Brainstorming, not barnstorming right now, because that moment or that modality of holding into what feels energetically right for you, we see even now there's a lot of that work that's occurring. Now for masculine and feminine energy, this feels like a lot of planning as it relates to where one is concentrating one's efforts as we move into the continuation of this year. I just see even now, that's why the feminine is getting more focused. That's why the masculine is getting more expansive, right? This is like planning stages. This is laying the template I'm seeing for the rest of the year. For masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, this is maturation, feels bittersweet, because this is the energy that feels the security and stability of what they know is best for them. The partnership that feels like it is affecting them and creating that sense of balance. If something that you create for yourself that creates balance, creates uncertainty in another, brings forth something that is more in a space of confusion, this is why we see that that's the energy that tries to clarify and stabilize, but only to an extent. Because this is the energy that says they're doing so not for effect, not to see what occurs outside of partnership, but because they themselves are affected by the energetic partnership. And that's why we see even now that for a lot of this energy and separation, it literally feels like moving into partnership right now is stumbling in the dark. This is energy right now. This is why I'm telling you that the partnerships that are forming right now are going to be so strong, because this is energy that's like qualitatively doing shadow work in the process of coming into partnership. Okay, like that is the shadow work, right? It's confronting the fear. It's confronting the uncertainty. It's confronting the anxiety, right? But these are the energies that are working right now. And what are they doing? They're bringing their own flashlights, right? That's the like the intentionality is the flashlight. Continuing to get clarification between our Page of Cups in its upright and our Knight of Cups in reversal. I told you this is the waveform of the Mars retrograde going, whoa, whoa. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Nine of Cups in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. This is the energy that looks towards the future and says, I don't know what I'll find there, right? Like that's what's so difficult with Mars, like Mars retrograde energy. This is the energy that says like, you know, and it's remembering, you know, hope. Hope is the conviction and the affirmation of what we expect to find, right? These are the energies right now that are building into hope, right? To build into these energetic connections. And that hope, right? This is not, I need to point out why this hope is so important, because this isn't the energy that says that is hopeless. Why isn't this energy hopeless? Because this is the energy in separation that has recognized the changes from within. And when we experience a change from within, rest assured, and I mean this with all the love in my heart, you are not special, and you are also exceptional. Because if you feel that way, rest assured, I see this energy saying, I am not the only person that feels this way. I know with certainty that I'm not the only person that feels this way, right? And that, like I see, like that is the energy of the mantra that I see that a lot of the energy in separation is moving towards, going, I know I'm not the only one. I am not the only person that holds this hope. I'm not the only person that has that conviction that something can be better. I have that conviction that I can find the partner that is for me, that I can be my most authentic self with, that I can be able to trust. That's what this energy is saying to themselves as they march into that uncertainty or that darkness. They're letting that conviction and that hope light the way. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is coming into divine union, this is why this energy right now, it feels like I can see the energy having a deep letting go process. Why do I see a lot of that energy having a letting go process? Because there is nothing more energetically painful than experiencing shifts, energetic shifts outside of the self at the moment that you're moving into divine union, right? Because I can see even now that energy experiencing something, I can even see now something that they either would have said, everything about me would have given anything to receive that at another point, or these modalities of saying, why now? This is the energy that feels the weight of recognition in relationality to what is within their own power to change versus what it is that they're experiencing. And that modality, that moment, it feels overwhelming because we ourselves remember those experiences where we may have felt that way. And if those moments happen, and again, we're moving towards healthy partnership, when we're moving towards healthy partnership, we do not do it for effect. We don't move into partnership and then look around to see what happened, right? We move into partnership because we're energetically affected. We see even now that that's a lot of that energy that makes peace, because this is the energy that says, I want you rest assured that what we move towards is for ourselves. It's not something that we're doing for an energetic outcome. We're doing it because I see a lot of the energy saying it's already happened, because this is the energy that says it's not about just bringing something into something to fix it. This is energy that's moving into deepening commitments because they already fix something, right? And that's why I see even now, that's the energy that if another does not perceive it that way, it feels like a sigh and a sob, because it's almost the energy that's saying you're not allowing for the fact that something here can change, right? Like I can see a lot of that energy saying that they're either feeling like someone is viewing them from a perception of the past self, or they're refusing to see what is creating that sense of health or stability for someone, spiritual or emotional health, as they move towards it. While for masculine and feminine deep within divine union right now, I hear a lot of this energy saying, who am I? Right? But a lot of that energy saying, who am I? It has more to do with, I want to say, the building upon the pathwork of focus in relationality to what one is putting one's own energetic efforts towards. And for masculine right now, I feel like that process feels more expansive. Like this is more the masculine saying, who do I want to be? And this is a lot of the feminine saying, this is how, this is like, this is my spearhead. This is what I'm focusing my energetic attention on, right? Continuing to get clarification between our, and they're both thinking of new ways of doing that. And that's why we see that energy is giving itself space. Continuing to get clarification between our Knight of Cups in a reversal, our Magician in its reversal, and our Ace of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify, please. I love this. We've got our Six of Wands in its upright. So a lot of this work that we're seeing right now, it's reaffirming, but it's bittersweet. Why is it reaffirming and it's bittersweet? Because this is the energy. There's a lot of this force of change that I'm seeing is occurring right now. And that identification of that change, right? This is a lot of energy that is working through maturation. And when we work through maturation, we don't hold things the same way. We don't hold on to things. I just keep seeing a lot of this energy right now, deep within divine union, is just not holding on to things as tightly, because they're building upon that pathwork of recognizing and understanding. Like, and they're giving each other, I want to say they're giving those around them that same level of grace in the process. Why do we see that right now? Because there's a lot of work, and this is the benefit of the Mars retrograde cycle. There's a lot of work that's being navigated right now in accepting something around the self and recognizing what one can do to energetically change it, right? And that is the beauty of this Pluto and Aquarius, which is, I just see a lot of that energy. I keep on hearing for the energy deep within divine union. It's not enough to be able to go towards a direction, but being able to maintain the sense of self on the journey towards it, right? So a lot of that is beautiful, because I just see even now there's a lot of that concentration and focusing and honoring the self and how difficult that journey can be at times. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is coming into divine union, this is why I see that feels like a maturation process. Because if someone doesn't see something the way that you do, you say to them, I hope the day comes that you will, right? You maintain that energetic hope. And for a lot of that energy right now in separation, this is the energy that's building into new partnerships, utilizing hope as their flashlight. Continuing to get clarification between the Moon card in its upright in combination with our Nine of Cups in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. I'm here for this, man. We got the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords out here. So this is beautiful, right? Because I just keep seeing that for a lot of the energy in separation, I just keep hearing a lot of this energy saying, I think I'm ready, right? And a lot of that energy being able to say, I think I'm ready. You know, this is the energy that even in the moment of saying, I think I'm ready, this is the energy that doesn't say I've like completely healed from the past, right? This is a bit of the gift that we're getting with this like this new moon in Capricorn, which is really, really heavy, which is when you see something in a different way, that is also a form of healing. And so I just see right now that this is a lot of energy and separation that's either looking back at something and saying, I understand what that energetic confusion point was, right? And if this is the feminine energy doing that work, this is the feminine that says, never will I move forward towards something and lose sight of myself in the process, right? Like that is the gift of healing that we see that a lot of the feminine is taking forward with them as they move into new energetic connections. And for masculine, this is the masculine that says, I would do anything to be in harmony with someone that I desire to be in harmony with, except make a false version of self in the process, right? This is a lot of the masculine basically like working, and both of these energies right now immediately coming into that space say, I'm energetically ready, right? Because it's that moment of identifying and recognizing it that sets one's own conviction going forward. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, I just keep seeing it's all about the right conversations, right? I can see a lot of this energy that says if I've articulated and explained something to someone and they're in a space, I can just see a lot of this energy going, if I've said something to someone and they're still not coming, they're not hearing what I'm saying, right? This is the energy that says, I can't do anything about that. Like I've tried to explain something and it feels like someone like can't hear it. This is the energy that says, I can't tell if they're intentionally trying to be like not listen or if they literally don't understand. And that's what the energy says to a certain extent. It says, regardless of the reason, if the result is the same, there's the energy that says, I can't, like, it's like the reason why doesn't change the fact that the similar outcome is occurring. And that's why the energy says, like, you know, I'm not going to go into pursuing and understanding why something is characteristically like that. I'm just going to accept that that is the nature of it and proceed forward, right? While for masculine and feminine energy that is deep within divine union, we see even now that a lot of that work that we're recognizing and identifying deep within divine union, I just keep seeing projects, planning, thinking of new ways of doing something. There's a lot of dynamic energy right now that I see for energy deep within divine union, but it's also very quiet and peaceful. It's like library energy. You know, it's like a lot of this work that I see to a certain extent. So if you're experiencing a little bit of that stillness, we were talking about it. It's a little bit of this carryover from the void moon that we just experienced, because it was like a black moon. So it was a very, very intense, like it's a clean slate kind of energy. But what's nice about it, and again, if you're feeling more dread with that clean slate energy, I wanted you to get out your crayons, right? I want you to put positivity towards it. Continuing to get clarification between our Nine of Cups in its reversal and our Six of Wands in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Tower card. I'm not surprised to see it. Ah, man, this Tower card, my friends, this Tower card has been hanging out like hotcakes for like the last week or so. But I don't want everyone to like, don't panic, okay? I know how you guys get when you see the Tower card. Don't fear the Tower card, right? It all depends on what the Tower card indicates. And I have to tell you right now, what's really beautiful about this is we've got a Ace of Wands in combination with our Tower card, right? Like the only way to find something is to find out what it's not. And I feel like a lot of people right now are doing that with the self, right? And a lot of that release process that we're seeing to a certain extent, I just keep recognizing and identifying someone saying, I appreciate who I am and I appreciate who I'm not. Like, and again, like that state or space, like that's why I see even now, if someone's in that modality of being like, I'll do anything, you'd be like, why would you ever say something like that? You know, like, because path work that honors us, honors our own energetic standards, right? And it's not enough to move towards a manifestation goal if you lose sight of yourself in the process, right? So we see even now that there's a lot of that energy that is honoring their energetic journey, by identifying. This is why we got a lot of this like yes, no kind of energy that's coming through right now. Welcome to Pluto and Aquarius, right? Like the identification of saying that a healthy manifestation is not just one that you get the thing that you desire, but you also get to maintain one's own energetic standards in the process. So we see even now a lot of that balance point that's being arriving is a lot of that identification and appreciation of the self in the journey towards those modalities, right? And a lot of that is helping via V energy right now that is collectively healing what it feels like to be rejected. Rejection is protection. Rejection is redirection. Rejection, recognizing what moves us further from ourselves helps us find ourselves, right? It's literally like welcome to 2025, honoring your nope, right? Because those modalities or those experiences, this is the yin yang of navigating a situation or circumstance where, again, the beauty of an energetic tower is when you say no thank you. Like, that's okay. I know that's not for me, right? And that's a lot of that energy not moving, right? When we're not moving, again, not moving from a state of anxiety, right? Not moving away from something from a place of anxiety, but just recognizing what is for oneself and what isn't, right? It's not my cup of tea. Sorry, it's not my cup of tea. And so again, when we look at rejection less as someone being like, look, if you're special tea and someone says, I would like you to be a different tea, you'd be like, I'm not. I'm not. This is what I am, right? So we see even there's a lot of that work that's happening, and that's happening across all of the frequencies, right? And that's why I see even now that sense, like that is why that work in terms of having hope to a certain extent, it feels encouraging, right? Because this is the energy that says, I'm lighting my own way in relationality to identifying that we always have that pathwork within us. That signpost, that guidance point, that compass rests within. So I see even now like a lot of that energy channeling into their higher self and saying to themselves on that journey, what would my highest self do, right? Allowing that to be the energetic, allowing that to be the energetic, compass point, if you will. And so for a lot of this energy right now in separation, this is why we see the energy saying, I know, if these are energies that are in separation, if this is feminine that is moving towards their masculine divine counterpart and they've been wounded in the past via V-trust, what is the energy of the feminine saying? I know my divine masculine would not treat me that way, right? And in that moment, they're able to move forward because they're building into the construct of saying, I know that exists because I myself feel that way, right? And I know that I'm not alone in that energetic journey. For masculine, that ability of saying, I know that my feminine counterpart will appreciate and find me, right? That's not the masculine that says I have to be perfect, but this is the masculine that says I know the feminine that is for me will energetically embrace my mess, that will not see it as a mess. They will see it as a masterpiece, because when we're moving in healthy partnership, it's not that we're perfect. It's that we appreciate watching another work on their masterpiece. So this is a lot of the masculine that says, I am not perfect. I am a work in progress. And my ability to be authentic towards feminine allows the feminine to come into a place of appreciating what they see, appreciating that work in progress. Final card for today's spread. And that's happening across all the frequencies, right? And that's why we see even now that if there's energy that's experiencing volatility outside of partnership as they're moving towards counterpart in this way, this is why the energy says to another, I am sorry, it was not my energetic intention, because this is the energy that amplifies and says we move towards healthy partnership because we are affected by it, not to render an effect outside of the self. While for a lot of this energy deep within divine union right now, this is a lot of the energy I'm seeing even now channeling their frustration into productive spaces, right? It's not enough just to feel frustrated. It's like let it serve an energetic purpose. Let it move one into a space that allows for that Even here, I'm seeing like a lot of that energy saying, I'm not going to just let myself feel frustrated with myself. I'm going to use it to an energetic effect. I'm going to move that into a space that it feels productive, right? And a lot of that energy here, I see even now, like some of that energy deep within divine union, navigating frustration, either within the self or outside the self, but trying to use it energetically productively, because that's what we do when we're in a place of healing, right? Everything moves us towards our energetic purpose. It's just in a way of how we perceive it. Final card in our spread between our Ace of Wands in combination with our Tower card today. Final cards for today, we've got here our King of Wands energy. Now, this is very important because we did recognize and identify. So one of the things that we're seeing even now is for masculine and feminine energy. And I keep seeing this. Remember what I was saying in relationality to recognizing and identifying what feels like an energetic breakthrough, right? Now, for masculine energy today, a lot of that, it feels very much, I just keep seeing, I see a lot of breakthroughs today that are potentially happening for masculine, but in the modality, right? And again, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, in the modality of not taking oneself, right? Like absolutely seriously. Like there's a little bit of this like easement point that I'm recognizing here. Why are we seeing this? Because this is a lot of the masculine energy that is recognizing and identifying like the messages from the higher self as opposed to the messages from the ego, right? And like that's the thing with the ego. It's not that the ego needs to be entirely shed because the ego is there to protect you. But I keep seeing that the masculine, like in those moments of healing the energetic ego, I can see the masculine being like wanting to do something and being like, that's my ego. Nope. like in that moment, I can literally see the masculine energy going, "Oi, that's my ego. Nope. Calm down, buddy. Like we just talked about this." Like I see the masculine being like, we just had this conversation, buddy, right? Because this is the masculine that continues to do that work on the ego that says, buddy, I love you. But sometimes when you try to energetically protect me, you move me further away from being able to communicate with others, right? So I see even now that there's something about that in relationality to masculine being able to articulate right now between like how they feel and also like that I can see even now like this is the energy. It's hard, like this is like this is a lot of that energy of masculine that's like leading forward to a certain extent, but also in that space of again taking that energy, that courageous step forward. And it's like once you do so, it feels like a release and a relief because like it's like ripping a Band-Aid off. It's like having that openness or having those experiences wherein you feel like you can be your authentic self. For feminine energy right now, I'm just seeing that this feels more, and I want to describe this. This is more the feminine energy that says, I understand and recognize that by holding energetic standards, I'm going to experience a lot of energy that may not recognize that positively. But for the energy that does, the energy that understands that path work, that is how the energy heals. Because this is the feminine that says that high standard, right? It's the moment or modality wherein the feminine energy says, I know. Like when we say, oh, everybody's like this is all I can expect. That's where we get into the space of cynicism. And that is the blade that cuts twice. That is the energy that says someone hurt me. And so I assume everyone will hurt me. And I will treat them the way the person that hurt me treated me, right? I'll get them before they get me. But when we move into that space where we have the courage, we articulate to ourselves and say, I do this, I move towards vulnerability, and it is the strongest thing I do because I look for the discernment of the masculine that honors that vulnerability, that recognizes what it takes, that doesn't just demand it, but holds space for it. And that's the feminine that says it doesn't require me to throw all of my trust towards masculine, because this is the energy of the feminine that says, I know that the healthy masculine energy understands that trust is a gift. It is not an expectation, and it is gift that is energetically earned, because that is how the feminine protects the self. And that is the masculine that says, that recognizes that the masculine honors the feminine in that space and helps the feminine protect the self in the process, right? Final card, and that's happening across all of the frequencies. And a lot of that work right now, like for feminine, it feels more rigorous. For feminine, it feels more in that space of saying, like, of being in like the audacity of the self. Or for masculine, it feels more like this process of allowing oneself to be vulnerable at this time. And for both of these energies, it's difficult because there's a lot of this volatility that we're experiencing right now with the Mars retrograde, which is others who are moving more from the space of the ego in the process, right? So it's allowing for a lot of compassion, but also like recognizing healthy boundaries. Bottom of the deck on today's reading is 10 of Wands in its reversal. And I just got to tell you, like something that's allowing, like something that is allowing for a deep level of healing is, I would never treat them that way. I would never treat them that way, right? Because and why are we seeing that that's coming through right now? This is what often happens when we're on healthy path work, right? Being able to recognize and appreciate how much we have grown. And then when we look back and something feels even worse, right? Either something that we've done within the self and saying, wow, I really see why that would have been like that's something that stepped away from, or those moments or modalities that we say something that we experienced feels even energetically worse in the process of doing so. I just see that there's a lot of that karmic release that's occurring right now, right? Because a lot of that energy and saying like, I would not treat someone in that fashion, or I would not do that again. This is the energy that either recognizes how far they have come via the pathwork of seeing the past version of self and having notes for the past version, or for the sense of looking back on something and saying, I'm able to release that because my understanding, regardless as to the why, is that I would never do something like that. I would never move in accordance in that way. So everything that we're seeing here, it feels reaffirming, but a lot of it is also requiring us to kind of look back on the past in different ways. So again, I'm going to say this to feminine. If these are experiences in the past where it feels like you moved away from your own energetic standards, I want you to reaffirm and say to yourself, you are getting stronger every day. That the ability to lay healthy standards is something that we learn, and it is always requiring a lot of work on our part. So if you're doing that work, I want you to forgive the past version of self that may have not necessarily had those energetic standards. While for masculine energy, if this is masculine energy that feels like those modalities wherein you are creating that false sense of self, led to spaces or places where it felt like you weren't necessarily like moving in your authenticity, but more trying to be what you aspired or you thought that the feminine desired you to be. I want you to remember and say to yourself that work, right? Learning to bring down those walls, doing that work and recognizing and being able to be one's own authentic self, and understanding that rejection is not conducive of the quality of yourself or your nature, but more about alignment as to whether someone is in alignment to you. We see even now there's a lot of that energy that's working on that difficult path of forgiving oneself in the process, that it feels like you strayed from your own path. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you so much for having this, for being here and sharing in these messages. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, gracestrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website, so I encourage you to do it there. Also, a couple of updates before we move into personal readings for today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the Strength card. Our next tarot class will be held on Wednesday, January 15th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Hermit card. Cannot wait to teach this card. It is a fascinating card. It often appears in my spreads without even coming out. We're going to talk a bit about that. We're going to talk about the symbology of the card. We're going to talk about the history of the card. I'm going to talk to you about spread application, how you can read for it in all of its positions. And you'll also be receiving a unique tarot spread that focuses and harnesses the energy of the Hermit. And if you'd like to become a part of that class program, all you need to do is head over to my Substack, gracestrega.substack.com. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also have access to the full library of Tarot Church classes. So that is over 9 hours worth of material that you will receive as a subscriber. You will also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything that we've learned thus far. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage going forward towards your personal tarot goals. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. It is not conditional on your personal level to get something from those classes. Also, if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, I would encourage you to follow me over on our Discord channel, because there in your subscriber-only Discord channel, you will find a special channel called Perks, and there will be a coupon code there that will give you an additional discount on that Substack subscription. Even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings, services. I post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also be notified as to any giveaway information. And speaking about giveaways, we have announced the winner of our November giveaway. Congratulations to our winner. If you would like to find out if you won, simply head over to my Substack and you'll find the winner in our most recent newsletter. Finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my clients that are seeking a more consistent, more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are personalized for each individual client. They can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.